So let me quickly take you through the workflow, the automation, and then I'll explain in detail what all of this goes to. I'm going to click on execute workflow here to start. This automation starts with creation of a document. So let's say we are working for Google, for example, and we are creating a document titled Service Agreement and Statement of Work for Google. And our project order number is 1. Choose a date for this. This is going to be your agency email address. The client's company, let's say we are working for Google. I'm going to put Google here. And the client email, this is going to be the real client's email. But since I'm using the PandaDoc API key, the sandbox API key, which is like the test API key, I'm not able to send this email out to real clients. So I have to use my own email. But if you are using this form, please use the client's email and your production API key if you want to send to clients. For the scope of service, I'm just going to leave this as is for example, and then I'm going to input the rest of the field. I'm going to submit this and the automation takes over. So it has created the document. This node has already created the document. It's fetching the document status. It's downloading the document currently. It has downloaded the document. It's going to wait for 6 seconds and then upload the documents to my Google Drive. After uploading the document to my Google Drive, it's going to send it over to me on Telegram for me to review and approve the document. And that message just came in. It says, service agreement of work for Google is ready for preview and sending to clients. Preview here, it sends me a link to the preview and I can download here. And then it asks whether I should send to the client or not. So I'm going to click on the preview link here to preview the document. So this is the document, and as you can see, it says service agreement and statement of work, and our client, every field has been filled in. Our client is Google. Then we have other things like the pricing. If you check the pricing, this is the price we just inputted: 1 million, 6 million, balance, deposit, and all of those things has been inputted. The name of the clients for Google, we are working for Google. The name of our POC, Adeayo. POC, everything has been filled in, and if I'm good with this, all I have to do is just go back to my my Telegram bot, and I'm going to say, okay, this is good, send to clients. I'm just going to click on send, and it says this page can be closed now, and then it has been sent to the client and is waiting for the status of the message that was sent to the client. So it sends me another notification. If I check the notification, it says the document as waiting for Google has been sent to my client. It's using the real name because we are using the real variable's name. It says service agreement and statement of work for Google has been sent to Adeayo for preview and then signing. So I'm going to check that mail in a while. But the reason why you are seeing dev here is because I'm using the PandaDoc sandbox, which is this text API key. So once you start using production key, you don't see dev here. So I'm going to go to my mailbox here, and as you can see, I just received the mail. It says Dayo Inlola sent you service agreement and statement of work for Google via PandaDoc. And if I open this, you can see, and there's a short message here too that says Hi Ade, which is the first name of the client. It's very good for personalization. Please review and sign the service agreement and statements of work as discussed. And as the client, they can just open this document to review and then sign the document online electronically without needing to download and print and all of those things. So they can review the documents from here, the pricing, the terms and everything. And once they are ready to sign, they just click on start. They click on the signature field, they put their field, and they can type in whatever they want here. Adeayo, Ola, whatever it is they want to use to sign. And they accept and sign. And then select a date. And then they click on finish. And that's it. If we go back to our n8n automation here, you see it's currently waiting for the client's action. So it's waiting for what the client will do. And after a while, it's going to poll for the status of that document to check if the client has already completed it or if the client is still reviewing it and all of those things. So it's currently waiting. It's going to wait for a couple of seconds, and then it's going to poll. It's going to ask for the status of that document from PandaDoc, and then that will determine what the automation will go next. So it asks for the status, and PandaDoc told it that the document has been completed by the client. So what he did was he downloaded the document over here, and it's going to wait for 10 seconds, uploaded the documents to Google Drive. It's currently uploading to Google Drive, and then it sends me a notification saying, oh, this document has been completed by the client. As you can see, it says service agreement and statement of work for Google has been signed and completed by the client, their real name, and has also been uploaded to the Google Drive. And we can preview here, we can download here. So if I click on preview here, this is our document right here, and it has been signed and sealed. And if you scroll to the bottom of the page, you see their signature here, which I filled in, and then you see a certificate of signature saying this is now a legally binding document, and all participants have signed and completed this document. And if the client check their mailbox too, they are going to receive the details of that document. I'm the client in this case, so it's telling me that the document for Google has been completed by all participants. So that's just how the whole flow works. I'm just going to take you through each of the individual node and what they do. Is something you do for once and continues working for you for life. And it's going to save you a lot of stress creating contracts for your freelancing or your agency project. So to get started with this particular automation, you need a couple of things. You need a PandaDoc account, you need a Google Docs account, you need a Google Cloud account, n8n, and then Telegram bots with API access. Yeah, it's essentially free and very easy to get. I'm going to show you how to get everything. So let's get started. Head over to the link of this page and then create your free PandaDoc account. After creating your account and logging into your PandaDoc account, the first thing you want to do is to create a folder for all of our contracts. Organization is very important, and we can easily do that by navigating to the documents section, and from here you have to click on new folder here and then give your folder a name. So I'm just simply going to call mine contracts and create. So we are currently in the folder. The folder has opened. We need to copy the folder's ID. This is one of the things we'll be using in our automation. So whenever we are sending our contracts, it comes directly into this folder already organized. So how do you get the folder's ID? If you look at your address bar right here, you see something that says folder ID is equals to just right here. So from here, after the equals to sign to this place, that is our folder ID. This is the unique ID for this folder, and we are going to be using this in our automation. So copy this and then paste it somewhere. The next thing we need to do from the PandaDoc dashboard is to prep our templates for our contract. I'm going to be providing you a template for free. It is a combined service agreement and statement of work. But if you have your own template, you can use them. Just that you have to change a lot of things to make it work with the automation I already did. But it's not a lot of work. I'll show you everything that you need to change. But if you are going to be using the one I provide, you can follow on. Please, I am not a lawyer. A disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I am just providing this for guidance. This particular template, I'm providing this for guidance. So you need to maybe show a lawyer so that they can check the terms and everything in this particular document for you. So I'm going to be providing the link for this. You can download it for free. Check the description or comments of this video. If you like this particular video and you're finding value in it, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. So to add our templates to our PandaDoc dashboard, we have to come over to the left bar and then come to templates, and then we can simply drag and drop the templates that I'm going to be providing you into the dashboard. So this is the templates we are going to be using, and it is pretty solid. But like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legal practitioner, so you can run this just go through this with your lawyer, so they can actually tell you if most of the times or all of the times that are here are enforceable in your particular region. But this is pretty solid. It has terms, it has a scope of service. That is what you are going to be providing for your clients. It has a payment tab. You can go through all of these details, but we're not going to do that in this particular video because it's going to take a lot of time. It has timeline and feedback, acceptance and deliverables, what that looks like, intellectual property, confidentiality, liability, termination, general law, and then points of contacts. So it has all of those things. So you can go through this, but for now, I'm going to show you how to customize this particular template. And if you are using your own templates, how you are going to be able to customize it. That is what I'm going to be showing you. I'm not going to be going into the details of this particular contract. So the most important thing right here is for us to create something called variables for our templates. Variables are just like placeholders. These are placeholder things that we'll include in our templates. Then we'll be sending information for those variables from our n8n automation. So for example, if you see right here, I have something called project order number here. So this is going to be a dynamic field. This is a variable, it's dynamic. We can automatically fill in this particular field with whatever information we get from our n8n automation. So that is the primary thing we'll be doing with our templates. We are going to be creating variables. It is called variables in PandaDoc, but you can call them placeholders that we are going to be filling with regards to whatever projects we are currently working on. So we don't have to come here every time to change that. So to edit a template, you need to click on the template, and then you come to this Microsoft Word kind of view, and then you can do your normal typesetting here. So you might need to do a little bit of typesetting here. I can see this is 2 paragraphs. I don't like that. So do 1 or 2 things in those regards. I'm not going to obviously going to be explaining how to do typesetting and all of those things. This does not look right, so you can change some of that. But let me just go to the automation parts, the important part that we'll be dealing with. So for example, I already put the variables that we need for this particular template here. But since it is a new document that we imported, PandaDoc is not recognizing them as variables. So what we need to do is to manually recreate them. And to create a variable in PandaDoc, you have to use the curly bracket. So once you use you enter a first curly bracket, it automatically tells you to give the variable a name. So that's what we are going to be doing. I'm just going to be recreating the existing variables in this particular template, so that PandaDoc recognizes that these are variables. So for the first one, I'm just going to do project order. I'm just going to be copying what I have on the template already. I'm not reinventing anything. Project order number. And then I'm going to use the curly brackets, the close bracket, to create the variable. And once you create a variable, you see that it changes from just being a normal text to having this yellow highlight. That is just indicating that this is now a variable. This is just not a normal text. And you can fill this in dynamically from any particular automation software that has integration with the PandaDoc API. It might be make.com, it might be n8n, whatever it is. So that's what I'm going to be doing for virtually all of the variables. And you can see I have quite a lot of variables. I'm going to give you a document that lists all of the variables in this particular template too. So check out the download folder. Everything that you're going to be I'll provide it for you for free in the download folder for this particular video. So check the caption or description of this video for the full download resources. So I think I have another variable here, which is client company. Open brackets. I'm going to create client company, close brackets. Then I'll delete the former one. And that is what I'll do for all of the remaining variables too. So I have another variable here, which is scope of service. And these are kind of values that we want to fill in dynamically later, because this changes for every project. So we are only adding variables for things that we need to change for every project. For example, the company we are working with, the client company, it changes for every project. The scope of service, it changes for every project. And that is why we are creating variables for this particular information. If we have anything that does not need to change by project, we leave them as is. Like for example, the terms of service, the payment structure, expenses, all of those things don't need to change. So we are not creating variables for them. So for this, I'm going to create scope of service. And if you are using your own templates too, you can just do the same thing. Just add variables for all of the things that you need to change dynamically. That's after doing your typesetting, after correcting any kind of error and all of those things. So just go ahead and create the variables, recreate the variables in this particular template if you want to use this template. I'm going to skip to the end. And we have some variables here, so like the agency email, the client email, and all of those things. For this particular section, the signature section, we can recreate that by adding a table. I want to add a table to this particular document because we can't do 2 colons. As you can see, these are like 2 colons, but you cannot natively do 2 colons in PandaDoc. So what I figure out could work for that, or what I figure out worked for that, is to use a table, simply using a 2-column table. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Just add a table and then just type in your fields and we'll just remove the formatting. So for the first field, we have agency. I'm just going to type in and then I'll format it later. You have client for the blog. This is my own agency name. Please use your own agency name too. For, and then we add the variable for the client because it changes from time to time. So another thing, once you add a variable once, you are able to reuse the variable. You don't need to create a variable multiple times. As you can see, I've created the client company variable before, and it is now right here. So I can just click on this and it just pops for client company, that variable into the field. Then name. Since this is me, I'm the one that signs for my agency every time. I'm going to leave this as this. I'm not going to create a variable for that. But for the client, the person that will sign will change according to each project. So I'm just going to use two variables for that. The first variable is, I think, let me check. Clients.firstname. There are some inbuilt variable here. So I'm just using the inbuilt variable for clients. Then signed. Another signed here. This will make sense in a bit. So the last part is the signature. But since, as you can see here, I'm using my scanned signature here. So you can easily do that by using a picture in this particular section. So just click into the box, click on the insert image, select image. I'm just going to find one from here. It's currently uploading, processing, and the image is right here. So for the client, I want this to be dynamic. I want the client to sign electronically. So I can do that by coming to the client field, this particular side that says client here. Then I can drag and drop their signature here. So this is saying the client is going to be signing for this. The client is going to be signing for this. And once we send the documents, they can come here, put their name, put their first name, last name, and then sign online. So this is how you will create the dynamic variable for the client's signature. Then from here, we can just add the last text, which is date. For the date, I think I did a variable for date too, since the date changes, the contract date changes. And for the client's date, I want them to put their own date. So this is called rows. We have multiple rows that you can add in your template. So this is the client's row, and anything that we drag from here, that is saying we want the clients to fill this. We want it to be dynamic, and the client will be the one that will fill it once we send this particular document to them. So what I want to do is I want to add another row. I'm going to create a new row, and I'm going to call it sender. That is me. Then I'm just going to leave it at CC. That means it's just going to tag me for all of the communications that will be happening between PandaDoc and this particular client. For example, if PandaDoc is sending the documents to the client for signature, I'm going to be CC'd. A copy of that mail is going to be sent to me too. So that is what I'm just creating this particular row for. But for the clients, they are going to be, you can switch between clients by clicking on this toggle button here and switch between different rows. So I have the sender, and then the client, and then the client. So any field that you input here is going to be dynamic. Any field from any row that you take from here and you put into your template is going to be dynamic. The client is going to be the one to fill that in. If you want the client to maybe add a text for you, you can drag a text field here, and we have some other ones here. If you want the client to maybe upload a file, just drag and drop an upload file here, and you're going to receive those files. But we don't need all of those. This is perfect for us for now. So what we have to do is just to remove the formatting for this particular table, so it looks like 2 columns without the grid lines. And you can do that by clicking on the cogwheel icon here that says options. Once you click on it, you want to turn off header row first. We don't have any header here. Then we want to go to table design, and then we want to just turn off all of the borders. Remove all of the borders and outlines. And that is how we get our 2 column documents here. So I'm going to delete these ones, the previous ones, since we don't need them. I'm just going to toggle delete these 2, option, delete. You might not be able to delete this outrightly. You might need to format this, maybe copy. Let me just do that. Copy some of this from this particular feed, then bring them here. So this is the typesetting part that you need to do. Then delete this. And now we have a 2 column fields for our signature field. My own signature is already filled in. I'm just going to be sending the date for this document via n8n. Then for the clients, I'm going to be filling this in, but they are going to be able to sign and then select a date for the signature. That's pretty much what we need to do to set up our document. The first thing you need to do is typesetting. Just make sure all of your formatting, numbering, everything is correct. As you can see right here, this numbering is not correct. So I need to find a way to typeset to make sure everything is correct. Then after that, you create your variables. Those are the values that are going to be dynamic that you need to fill in later from your automation software. So we've created our variables and we've created our signature field. The next thing we need to do is just copy the template ID. So we are going to be using this template a lot. So we need to copy its ID, its unique ID, so we can tell our automation software, whether n8n or make.com, that this is the template we want to use from our PandaDoc dashboard. And you can copy your template ID from your address bar again. So right here we have our template ID here. It says template / so after the slash is your template ID, and you can just copy that and then paste this somewhere. We are going to be using this in n8n. So once that is done, the next thing you need to do is just to save this template. So I'm just going to click on save. So once we are done, we can just easily X out of this particular document. And if we go back to our templates, we are going to see the templates right here. So the next thing we need to do from our PandaDoc dashboard is to activate and get our API keys. And you can do that by clicking on settings, go to integration, API integration, scroll down and click on API and webhooks. Click on open. And from here you can generate your sandbox and production API keys. Just click on generate and click on generate. Then you can copy and paste this somewhere because we are going to be using this in n8n. It is as simple as that. For webhooks, we don't currently get access to webhook on the free account, except you want to try and you want to start a free trial or you want to upgrade to a premium account. But for our current needs, the automation I showed you, we can just use our production and sandbox key. I did not use webhooks for those particular automation. I found a way to use API keys. For example, when we are polling for status of documents, we could have used webhooks, but I used API keys since I didn't have access to webhooks. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very simple and straightforward. Next step is for you to actually download the automation template and then import it to your n8n workspace. If you've downloaded the template, if you've not, link in the description or comment of this video. Just click on create a new workspace in your workspace. Go to this menu, click on the menu, then click on import from file, and then you are going to choose the JSON templates that you've downloaded. So I'm going to click on import from file, and then look for that template that I downloaded. This is it right here, and I'm going to click on open. Then you are going to get right here. So this is the template. Then you can now start customizing the template. You don't need to do much. You just need to input your credentials like your API keys, tell the n8n automation where your folders are, where all of those things are, so they can just put everything together and then start running your automation. The next thing we need to do is to create our Google Drive folders where our contracts that are being generated here are going to be sent to. If you ever need anything or you need any kind of explanation or any resources, I've included a link in this particular note here. Just click on the note to take you to a blog post that I've created for this particular automation. All of the resources and everything is going to be there. So let's move on to creating our Google Drives folder. You need to create two particular folders for this, and I've created those in my own drive. I created one for preview and I created a second one for completed. So once I need to review a particular document, a particular contract, it comes into this particular folder here. Then once it has been finished and has been signed by all parties, it automatically drops into this particular Google Drive folder. And this is like fully automated, as you see in our n8n automation. It's not something we need to upload ourselves, but we just need to create the folders. Just create two folders I recommend, one for preview and one for completed contracts. I call my contract statement of works SOWs. That's why you see SOWs here. And you need to create a Google Cloud account to be able to use credentials for your Google Drive. And that is like very straightforward too. I'm not going to show that in this particular video. You can watch. I'm going to paste the link to this particular documentation article from n8n in the video. The comment or description of this video. You can watch this video on how to do it. There's a troubleshooting. It's like a perfect documentation. It's very straightforward. It's the one I followed too. So what that looks like in your n8n, this thing is, if you come to this particular Google Drive node here, I have my credential for my particular account here. If I click on credential, you're going to have something like your auth redirects URL, your client ID, and your client secret. So this is particularly what we need from the Google Cloud account, and that is what you'll be able to create using this particular help article. So after creating your folder and creating your Google Cloud credential, the next thing we need for this particular automation is a Telegram bot API key and a chat ID. And that is very simple to get. Just download Telegram on your phone or your computer. I have it right here on my computer, so I'm just going to show you how to get that. Just look for @botfather. I have it right here. Then use the / command /start, and then use the command /new bot to create a new bot. And it's going to tell you to name your new bot. I'm going to call this test contract bot. And I'm going to call this test contract bot underscore bots. So this is a username. It's telling me to choose a username and it must end in bot. So I'm just going to send that, and immediately you get your API key for this particular bot. It is as simple as that. Just copy this particular API key and then paste it somewhere, because we'll be needing it in this automation. So I'm just going to copy it. It has been copied. I'm going to paste it off screen. I have a notepad, a Notion pad off screen. That is where I'm copying and pasting all of my credentials. So I'm going to show you how to use this in a second. I've already pasted that, and then you can find your new bot by just going back to your chat, and you're going to see your new bot here. Just click on your link, t-me/ and you're going to start chatting with your new bot, and that is it. So we need a chat ID from this particular bot, because as you can see from the automation, there's a place where we have to approve our document, and we need that particular approval to come in through Telegram, through this particular bot. But how do we know the chat ID for that particular bot? You can just test that out by adding a trigger, a chat trigger. Just go to Telegram, go to trigger on message. So what you want to do is to add your Telegram credentials to this particular chat trigger. Just click on the pencil icon. Because I already have this here, you are going to see this here. But if you don't, all you have to do is just to give that particular connection a name. Name it, give it a name, put your access token. Base URL is going to be the same thing you see here, and then you save. It's going to try the connection. If the connection was successful, it's going to tell you. So once you've done, just X out, and this is the chat trigger here. So to get this particular chat ID that we need, you need to click on execute step to start listening for chat trigger from your Telegram app. And I'm just going to click on that. That started listening. Then I'm going to open Telegram. I'm going to say so this is the bot I just created. I'm using the credentials from my former bot, so I'm just going to go back there. This is this bot here. I'm going to say and it pulled in all of the information that I need, including my chat ID, which is right here, the name of the bot, the username and everything. So this is what you need for this particular automation. So just copy this chat ID, copy and paste it somewhere. And that's how you can easily get your chat ID for your Telegram bot. And we are done with this. We can delete this particular node. We don't need it anymore. So we have all of our prerequisites for this particular template, and here comes the fun part where we actually set all of this up and we connect them and we get our automation. And this is very simple, very straightforward. If you need to get any information, any explanation, all of the things that we are going to be doing in this particular thing, you can just click on this particular link here to take you to my blog post that I have written detailing all of the steps and all of the things you need to do for this particular automation. So this automation starts with a form. I'm going to be sending the information, all of the project information that I want to create a contract for through this particular form, and then the automation takes over. It creates the document, it sends this to me for preview, it uploads this to the Google Drive and all of those things. The main thing you need to do is just to fill in that form and then approve the document it creates. That is all you need to do. So let me show you how to set that up. So it starts with a form. Like I said, this particular node is a form node, and we are not using any authentication for this form. We have a form title. So these are the fields that are included in the form. We have the first thing is the form title, which is important, service agreement and SOW creation form. This is just for my own identification. It does not affect the automation or the details of the contract. This is just for me. Let me just execute steps so you can see what that particular form looks like. So this is what the form looks like. We have this is the title and the description again, just for title and description. Then we have document title. I've pre-filled this so that I don't need to start typing service agreement and statement of work every single time. All I need to just type is the name of the company. If I'm working for Google, for example, I'm just going to say Google. And that's it. And the next thing is project order number. What's the project order number? It's usually 1. If you are working with a company for the first time, your project order number is going to be 1. So that is why I pre-filled this to be 1, just to save me a lot of time. I don't want to waste much time doing this. Then dates, you are going to input the date. You can click on this, input the date. Your agency rep email, who is going to be representing your agency. If you are still the one, put your email here. The client's company, the name of the client's company, put it here. Client's email, put their email address here. Let's say hello@google.com. And then scope of services too. I made it a pre-filled because most of the time we are going to be working with this particular template here. So we have the title of the service, then we have the description of the service, a short description. We have deliverables, revisions, what does it allow for, what does it not allow for, field for service and deliverable, due date for deliverables, everything is here. So all I need to do is change. For example, if this is not content marketing and e-commerce, I can do SEO. If it's motion design, I can delete this and do motion design. And then add the description, visions, and all of those things. And if it is just one, this is assuming we are going to be doing 2 services. That's 2.1 motion design and 2.2, let's say, content marketing. If it is just one, you can simply just delete this, the 2, and we have just one scope of service here. And the project's full project fee, I already pre-filled my currency. This is the currency I use from Nigeria. So it is saying NGN here. I'm going to show you how to change this on the back end, but I just want to show you all of the fields. This is like the only part you really need to touch in this whole automation to make it your own desired thing. And all of this information are what we are going to be plugging into the variables that we've created in the PandaDoc template. So that is why it is important to consider all of this before creating your template and then adding the variables there, because we are going to just be taking the information we collect from this form and we are going to be plugging them directly into our PandaDoc template to create our contract for our clients. So we have the full project fee here, deposit percentage of total fee. Just fill in all of this. The governing law for your contract. You can see my own is Nigeria. The governing law value, agency POC. From my side, who is going to be the POC of the client? So for the clients, who am I going to be getting in touch? I'm going to put the name. The signer's first name, the person that is going to be signing the contract on the client side, their first name and their last name. So I'm just going to pull all of this information here and then I'm going to send, and then the automation takes over. But let me show you what this looks like on the back end and how you can configure it to suit your own needs. So like I said, we have the form title and form description here. So the next form element is document title. We are using a text input, so just one line text, and I already did a default value. So this is the default value, so that when I click on the form, this is already filling. I just put the name of the client, the name of the client's company in that particular form, and it's a required field. All of the fields are required, so I don't make a mistake and then send a template without a required variable. Just go through all of this and you can customize, edit whatever, however you want. For, let's say you want to change the currency, say you are in USA or you are in India, you can change full project fee here. And you can see my own default value is NGN, so you can change this to USD if you want. It's going to change to USD. And then if you click on execute step, let me try that again. You are going to see that this is going to change to USD instead of NGN for the default fee. So full project fee, it is now USD instead of NGN. So you can do the same thing for the other fields. So just change them to whatever you want, your own wording, whatever it is. So for governing law, my own default value is Nigeria. You can change that to US or India or whatever your country is. Governing law value, that's the city that will be governing the contract. Mine is Lagos, so I'm leaving that as is. So that is pretty what you need to do for this particular form. Then the next thing you need to do is just go to the next node. This is the node that we'll be using to create the document using our PandaDoc templates. And that is where you are going to be plugging your values here. For this particular authentication, we need an header authentication. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty simple. How do you add your header authentication? Just come to authentication, click on this, go to generic credential type. We're going to go to header auth. I'm going to show you how to create this particular authentication once, and then you can use it multiple times across your automation. So as you can see, I've created two particular header auth authentication already. So I have for my text API and for production API. But you are not going to have anything here if you don't have header auth already set. If you have header auth, you might have for other services. But if you have for PandaDoc, just use that. If you don't, just click on create new credential. Give the key a name. So for the name is going to be authorization, according to the PandaDoc API document. And for the API key, it's going to be API -key space, and then you paste your API key. If you want to use your test API key, use your test API key. If you want to use the production, use the production. Again, this is how you get that. You go back to your dashboard, your PandaDoc dashboard, go to integrations, API and webhooks, open, and then you see your API keys here. This is the sandbox test. If you are still in test, you can use this. If you want to start actually sending live documents, you have to change that to production key. So for now, I'm going to copy the test API key, then I'm going to paste it here. Then you can save this. So we called it PandaDoc test v2. Once you save this, for all of your nodes, you can now start using this particular hotkey. You don't need to manually send headers on every of those things. You can just use the one you create. You've created it once, you can now use it multiple times. So that is for the create document, the authorization. So the next thing we need to figure out is this JSON node over here. And I'm going to simply explain what this is doing. But to really let us understand and put this into perspective, let's go back to that particular form and then we submit it so we can have something to work with in this particular node. As you can see, we don't have anything here because we've not executed our form. So let's just fill in the form with example documents and then we use that particular information. So I'm just going to come back here, execute step, and then I'm going to fill in this form. And because we are using a test, let me cancel this and then let me show you something. We are using a test URL, so we have like 120 seconds to fill this form before this particular node stop listening to the event. But once we go to the live production URL, we can leave this form open as long as possible. But since we are still doing tests, we have just 120 seconds before this stop listening and we can submit this form. So I'm just going to be very quick with it. I'm going to fill in not very accurate information just so that we have something to work with. So I'm going to submit, and it has successfully submitted the form. As you can see, it executed that particular node, and we have some things over here. So these are all of the details that we just submitted, and they have been transferred from input to output. And I'm going to pin this data so we can just use it. So if I don't pin the data, every time we restart this particular, let me just show you. If I do not pin the data, every time we execute this workflow, we have to submit a form every single time. But since I've pinned it, we can just continue using this particular information. So these are some of the informations we collected from the form. We have the form title, agency, blah, 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 till the submitted date. And these are the information that we are passing to this particular node, which is going to be creating our document for us. And we have, if you don't, I'm not going to be going fully into what the type of data, JSON, and all of those things. But if you want a detailed information of me explaining some of these particular nodes and how they work, please let me know in the description. So I'm just going to show you how to make this automation works. So for this particular thing, this particular node, what we are just doing is we are pulling information from our form and then we are using that to create our document. And let me show you what we are doing. If you want the API documentation, I'll leave that in the description of this video too. So this is the API documentation for creating a template from for creating a document using a template on PandaDoc using the API. So this is the API documentation. You can read this, but I've done all of that, so you don't need to. And I've already set this. You just need to bring your own details to create your form. So if I open this JSON here, I'm just going to open it right here. And you can see what we are doing is we are just bringing in values. We are bringing in stuff from our form and we are inputting them into the fields for our document. So for the recipient, this is the recipient fields of the JSON. What we are just doing is we are bringing this where it says client email. So we are bringing this particular field that says client email. As you can see, the JSON is client email. I brought it and I inputted it into the JSON. So it is a dynamic field and it automatically populates the, if you see the result here, automatically populates the client's email from what we fill from the form. Clients, the document title too, we are bringing it in from this particular JSON field called document title. And we are passing this to PandaDoc. Some of the things you need to edit in this particular node are just your template ID. So the templates, this one that we copied over here, if you come over here, go to your templates, click on the template, and check the address tab. This is your template ID here. Just copy that and then paste it in this field that says template UID. So I have mine here. Yours is going to be different. So just paste that here. And then the second thing is your folder ID. So you can get that by going to your folder. Go to the folder we created earlier, which is this. And then copy the ID from the address bar. So it's going to be here. This is the folder ID here. Just Ctrl C and then you paste it in this space between, yeah. So you are going to paste that here. And then we have the rest of the information to the scope of service, the project price, and every other field here. We've passed that to PandaDoc, and you can see it just makes sense. So from here, I'm just waiting for 3 seconds. This is just a wait for 3 seconds for PandaDoc to create the document. Then I'm fetching the status of the document. I'm using this node to fetch the status of that particular document. That is the fetch status node. If I click on it, you can see we have the same thing here. And for you, all you have to do here is just to put your API key here. This where it says API key, you can put your, if you are still testing, just put your, what's it called? Your sandbox API key here. If you want to go live to production, put your production API key here. And that is all you need to do for this particular field. And this particular field is just fetching the status of the contracts. It's just asking the PandaDoc API, hey, it's just saying, hey, is this document, has it been created? This contract that I sent you request to create here, what is the status? Has it been created? And then the PandaDoc API will reply with a status. Let me just move on to my other workflow and execute this and then show you the results all around. And from here, we said it downloaded it's going to download your documents. After I finish downloading the documents, this is the result here. It gives us a binary, and then we are waiting for a couple of seconds just for this to settle in, and then we are uploading that particular document, the PDF. We are uploading it into Google Drive. So for the Google Drive, you just have to create your credentials. You won't have this here, since if you don't have a Google credentials. If you have that with the Google Drive API enabled, just use that. If you don't, just click on the toggle up button, click on create new credential, and I'm going to paste the link to this particular documentation. That's a video on how you can easily set up your Google Drive with n8n. After that, just fill in the details, your client's ID, secret, and all of that, and save that. The next thing you need to do is select a folder where you want to upload your preview contract. For me, I created a folder called preview contract, preview SOWs, just like I showed you in the beginning of this video. That is the folder I'm just going to be selecting here. Just click on this and then search for your particular folder. And that is that for this particular node. And it's going to upload that document to that particular folder. And this particular node, the set node, is just doing something that actually makes sense. If we pass the preview, if you check our Google upload inputs here, we have web view link and web content link. The view link is for you to actually view. The web content link is to download the documents. So if you are going to be using this web view link, if I put it directly into this Telegram node that sends me request to approve it, what happens is it breaks. The Telegram node often just break the link. So once I open the link, I'm going to be getting things like this link does not exist. So that is what this particular set Telegram URL node is doing. It's just correcting the particular link so we can use it in our human in the loop, in our approval request message. So if you check the approval request message, so this is the node. So after the document has been uploaded to Google Drive, the next thing we need to do is to send it over to ourselves over Telegram for us to actually approve the documents, preview the documents, and then approve or deny it. That is what we are just doing with this particular node. We are previewing the documents, then we either approve to send it to the client or we deny for it to be sent. So if I click on this node, you can see I'm using my Telegram credential here. I showed you already how to create your Telegram credential and how to get your chat ID. So just input your Telegram credential and your chat ID in this particular field. That is all you need to do, really. Everything else will work as it should. And then once you receive the message from Telegram, whether to approve or deny it, there are two particular outcomes. If it is true, it's going to send the documents to the clients using this particular node. If it is false, it's going to just tell you, send you another notification like, oh, you've denied this, please try recreating the document. So let's check out the node for sending the documents to the client. Like I said, all of the documentations for API documentation for this, I'm going to include it in the description or comments of the video in case you want to check them out. But you really don't need to. You just need to input all of the things that I show you how to input, and the automation is going to work for you. So let's move forward. This is the node to send the documentation to the client. So for here, you have to use your header auth too. I'm just using my PandaDoc header auth, which is my API key for the sandbox over here too. If you are going to be using this, if you want to use this for live, use a live production key. I already show you how to do that, so I'm not going to waste time on that. So that is really all you need to do over here. Just input your header auth. Everything else will be automatically filled for you. Who is it going to send it to? Their email address, their name, and everything is already there. So just input your header auth here. That is all you need to do. So, and it's going to send the documents to the client, and it's going to wait for a couple of seconds, and then we are polling this particular what was it called? This particular node is used to poll the status of the document. In layman terms, we are just using it to check for the status of the document. We are asking the PandaDoc API, PandaDoc API, this particular document that we told you to create, what is the status? Has it been sent to the client, or is it still in drafts? Does it have any error, or has it been completed? That is what we are doing with this particular node. And all you have to do here too is just to change the header out. That's all you need to do. Every other thing has been worked out. So it's going to check for the status of this particular distance, and it's going to give you a response. And these are the response. This is the output. And for this, it says the status is document is equals to sent. That means this particular document has been sent to the client. This document, service agreement, and statement of work for Google has been sent to the clients. That's why you see document does sent here. And then I'm taking that particular response from this node and putting it into a switch node, which is just a way to route conversations. So I'm saying check for the document status, and then I gave it 4 particular possible outcome. If the document has been sent, document does sent. If the document is still in draft, document dot draft. If the document is still, if it has an error, document dot error. And if it has been completed, document dot completed. If it has been signed by the client and sealed. So how do I know all of these things? I got everything from the PandaDoc API documentation. So if I check the document, the API reference for document status, we can see all of the possible status for the document. So this is where I got all of those fields. So, but the ones that I'm particularly interested in are just 4. If there's an error in creating the document or sending it, if it has been completed, if it is still in draft, or if it has been sent to client. Then I'm using the response from this particular node. After fetching the status of the document, I'm using it to route the automation. So if it has been sent to the client, send me a notification on Telegram saying the document has been sent to the client. And that is what this particular next node is doing. We are just giving it our chat ID. Just give it your chat ID, input your chat ID here, and then leave everything else as is. That's all you need to do. And you need to add your Telegram credential too also. Just add your Telegram credential here, and then give it to your chat ID, and it's going to send you a message. So what the message is going to look like is something like this. So it's going to use let me open this so you can see this. I'm using variables from our previously executed nodes, and I'm saying I'm pulling the name of the document is going to be a dynamic field. So that is why I'm using the JSON variable here. So I'm saying the name of the document has been sent to the name of the client, their first name and their last name. So this is the variable for the first name. This is the variable for the last name for preview and signing. Then I'm sending that over to Telegram. So again, all you have to do is just to input your chat ID and your Telegram credential. Don't touch anything else. And if there's an error in creating the message, the document, or fetching it or anything, if at this point there's an error, send a notification saying the statement, the particular contract, the name failed at the document sending stage. So we've already sent. After we sent, there's an error. Please go and check. That is what that notification is doing. And that is what this particular node here, that is what it is doing. So after we've sent to the client, what we want to do next is to wait for client action. Once you send the document to the client, they are going to get an email address, just like I showed you when I was demoing this. They're going to get something like this. and it will tell them to review and sign the document, and they can click and open it. But while we are waiting for their action, we are using this node to wait. For this particular example, I'm doing just 60 seconds because I want to show you how the flow works. But in real life usage, you are going to extend this by maybe 12 to 24 hours because you don't expect a client to review a contract in 60 seconds. That does not just work. I just put this here as a placeholder for me to actually work and test the automation. So if you are doing this, you have to change this to maybe something like 1 day or 12 hours, whatever it is for your typical clients to review your client and get back to you. So that is what we are using this particular node for. So after we wait for the client's action, we'll poll for the status of the document again. So we are asking the PandaDoc API, hey, what is the status of this particular document? So that is what we are using this node for. And for this one too, I'm just using an header alt. So just do header alt and then select your header alt that you created. That is really all you need to do in this particular stage too. And it's going to give you a response. And the response for this particular document at this stage is documents.completed. It's just saying, oh, the document has been completed by the client. But before that, I'm routing any output I'm putting that in a switch node that does different things according to the status of the document. So if I click on this switch node here, you don't need to do anything here. I just want to explain how it works. So for the documents, the first rule is if the document has been completed. The second one is if it was declined by the clients. Maybe the client did not like some of your terms. They can decline it from their PandaDoc dashboard. When they actually click on this link and open it, they can decline the document. If they want external review, say they want you to review the documents with them, they can do that from their PandaDoc dashboard too. So I'm putting a field for that. If the document is voided, that means it has been sent, but it was not signed for, I think, is it 60 days? Yeah, every document you send out after 60 days, it expires. So if it has expired, I'm using that particular status here too. If it has been sent, that means it has been sent, but the client has not completed it. They viewed it, but they've not actually worked on it. They've not signed it. I'm using that particular status here. Viewed too, I'm using viewed. They viewed, but they've not, you sent it to them, they viewed, but they've not actually done anything. And these are the possible outcomes from the switch node: completed, declined, review wanted, voided, sent, and viewed. So if the client has either viewed the document or they've not viewed it, and you've already sent it, it's going to go back to this particular wait node. It's going to wait for another 24 hours. For example, you send the documents to them today and they've not viewed it, and the automation polls for the client's action, and it sees that, oh, they've not viewed it. It's going to wait for another 24 hours, and then it's going to ask for the status of until they either view and then they sign. So our major goal for this particular stage is for them to complete it. So anything that does not equals to them completing it is going to wait. So if they've not completed it, it's just going to wait for 24 hours or whatever the amount of time you set in this particular node. Yeah, so that's what we are doing with this switch node. But if they want, if the document has been completed, it's going to download the document. That means the client has signed and they've sent it to you. So it's going to download the completed document. So this is the node we are using to download it. For this, you need to use your production key. You cannot download completed documents using your sandbox API key. It's not going to work. You are going to get an error. I'm forgetting the error code now. It's just going to tell you this is not possible. You cannot use sandbox key to download completed documents. You need to use your production API key to download completed documents. And all you have to do is just to copy it from your dashboard. Just go back to your PandaDoc dashboard over here. You have your production key here. Just copy it here and then paste it in this particular field here. That's all you need to do here. And then it's going to download the documents. It's going to give you a binary. This is the binary over here. With the name of the document and everything. And then it's going to wait for 10 seconds just for everything to settle. And then upload the documents to Google Drive. Here, the thing you need to change is your credential. Just input your credential here, your Google your Google Cloud API credential. Select it here, and then you select the folder where you want the completed contracts to be in, your Google Drive folder. You can just simply click on this, search for that particular folder, and then you select it. And then it's going to automatically upload your completed documents into that particular folder, and it's going to give you two major links that we are interested in: the web contents link and the web view link. This is the one we use for preview, and if you want to download the documents directly, you use this other link, the web contents link. But this second one is for web preview link. And we are also setting the URL so they don't break when we use them in Telegram. I noticed that when I use those links directly in my Telegram node, they break. So I'm just using this particular node to set them correctly. So once I use them in my Telegram notification, they don't break. So you don't need to do anything here. Everything is as is. I just want to show you. So the next node is just to send a notification saying, oh, this particular client has already completed this document. You can preview it here and you can download it here. And the thing you need to change here is your credential. Input your Telegram credential and your chat ID. Put your chat ID here. Everything else, leave it as is. And you are going to get this particular kind of message. Let me just show you. That says, oh, this particular document has been signed and completed by the name of the client. It has also been uploaded to Google Drive. And then it's going to send you the link, the preview link, and then the download link. That's if the document has been completed. If when n8n polls for the status of this document, it says the document has been declined, it sends you a different message. It just says, this is that particular note. It says, the document has been declined by the client, and he inputs their email so you can actually reach out to them or something. Then we have the same for review. If they want to review, it's going to tell you, oh, the clients would like to review the contracts with you. So you can actually reach out to them or something. You don't need to change anything here except for input your credentials and your chat ID. And that is just the whole flow of the automation. And you can expand this or reduce this as much as you want. For me, this is my ideal situation. For example, you can add maybe a Gmail node here. For example, if they want a review, you can automatically send them a mail. Maybe just add another node here that automatically sends the clients an email asking for the kind of review they wanted, instead of you having to do that manually. So it's still going to work. You can expand this and reduce this as much as you want. And you can just maybe skip all of these stages, maybe just do create document, review document, and send to client, and that is it. And you are not going to need 50% of all of the nodes over here. But I've just made it comprehensive for an ideal situation where you create the document, you review the document, you send it to the client, and then you wait for the documents. You get notifications at each stage of the document. Once it's completed, it is automatically downloaded and saved in your Google Drive. So that is my own ideal situation for creating contracts for my freelancing and agency work. But for you, that might be different. So if you understand n8n, you can easily change things around to make them work for you. So let me just show you the Google Drive folder. So this is the Google Drive folder where we used in the automation. This is for the preview SOWs. If I open this, you see these are some of my preview documentations. And for completed, this is the completed one. Let me see if I can find the Google Drive for Google. So this is the one we just did. This is the for Google one. As you can see, for Google, and it says Google here. And we have the certificate of signature and everything at the area. So one thing to note is while you are testing it, you can actually use your PandaDoc sandbox API key. But once you want to move into production, if you want to actually publish this, you have to use your production API key. So you can get that again from your PandaDoc dashboard, and you have your sandbox. This is test API key, and you have your production API key. So if you have any question at all, please let me know. I'm going to try my best to answer as much question as possible. Or you have any particular thing that you don't really understand in this automation flow, please let me know. Put the questions in the comments of this particular video. Check the description of this video for all of the resources used. all of the code, all of the full automation workflow. I'm going to include it, the template for the documents, everything. Check the documentation. So if you have needs for me to help you set this, I can do this for you at a small fee. But if you want to do it yourself, just grab the resources and follow this video. And if you like videos about automations, marketing automations, business operation automations, and all of those things, please let me know in the comments of this particular video. Cheers.